Hello, my name is Maddie Solden from Music Mastery, and today I'm going to be performing Loch Lomond by JaRod on flute. It is a Scottish folk song, and then after that I'm going to go back through. We're going to look at some tips and tricks for playing this in your ensemble and practicing it at home. So first things first, I'm going to play through from top to bottom. Please just sit back, follow along, and listen. I will put the metronome on about halfway through, but there's a lot of tempo changes, so I'll probably not have it on the whole time. So we're going to start at the beginning. The clarinets have the entrance, so make sure to write that in your music if you're playing the flute part. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1. Measure 2, 2, 3, 4. Measure 3, 2, 3, 4. This is 18. Measure 2 of rest. Measure 3 of rest. Five, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I hope that was helpful for you to hear from top to bottom the flute part. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to walk through and go over some tips and tricks. So this is a challenging piece for flute. It's very slow. It has lots of notes that are very tricky to tune in a section, especially when playing softly and slowly. So this is kind of a workout for your mouth, and you're going to get used to where you're playing. So whenever you're practicing this piece, my biggest suggestion would to make sure you have a tuner out. So I use Tonal Energy. It's an app, and it gives you a smiley face if you're in tune or not. But I would use that in certain parts because there are some tricky parts in this piece. So if I'm looking back at the beginning, before we get started, some things to note is we have A flats the entire time. Please make sure that if you think you're going to forget an A flat, that you mark it in. So for example, at measure 7, I feel like that might be a spot that people forget their A flat. Mark it in, draw the little flat sign. This whole piece is slow. When you enter at measure 6, the flute part needs to be really connected, smooth, but quiet. I don't want to hear forte a million flutes. I want quieter flute part. So we're starting slow, we're starting quiet, lyrical, and make sure we're paying attention to if it's in 4/4 or 2/4. It's gonna switch, and it's easy to follow along sometimes on our flute, but if you're not aware of that, you might get lost in the music. So beginning phrase, make sure you're quiet, connected. When we come up to measure 12, it says rit with a dot. That means gradually slowing down. It's a ritardando. So we're going to get a little bit slower as we're coming into that measure. And then the next measure, più mosso, more motion. We're getting faster. So I want to concentrate for a second here, measure 12 to 18. I like to picture I am in an ocean and I have these swells of waves. So at 13, we have a piano that goes up to a forte, by the next measure back down to a piano, to a forte, to a piano. So you really need to show that on your flute. So if I start at measure 12, we're starting on an F and we're gonna decrescendo and then listen to my dynamics. So playing softly on the flute is very challenging. My best advice is to make sure you're still using a good air support and that you practice with a tuner, because it's very easy for me to play. I'm going to play an E flat and I'm just going to not move my embouchure and not pay attention to tuning. You can change the pitch all around, but it's not a good sound. So make sure you're really focused in and you're practicing with your tuner there. Start quiet, get loud, come back down quiet, loud. I need to hear those in the music. Okay, next, get to measure 26. We just had a huge crescendo, 24, 25, 26. We're playing a high E flat that's loud and it's gonna be out of tune. So let me play my E flat. So that is in tune with my tuner here. What happens is we tend to be very sharp. So you want to think of aiming the air down. There isn't an alternate fingering for this, but you want to look at your tuner, figure out where you're at, and then think of aiming the air more into the flute, and that will help you try to listen to that pitch. My biggest advice when you get there, learn your tendency. Learn if you're super sharp, a little bit sharp, or if you're usually in tune. You could be flat too, but you might want to retune your whole flute then. And figure out what it is. Go through and make sure you write in your music that you're going to be sharp here. So aim down, draw a little arrow down, okay? When you get to measure 30, we have this. Might seem complicated, faster notes. We're in a slow tempo, and I want you to think real quick. The only thing that's different about, it's a scale going down, E flat, D, C, B flat, C, B flat, G. We skipped the A. So if you want to write, there's just no A, but everything else is in the sequence there. That's also helpful. 32. Do not miss that A natural. It sounds out of place if I play it real quick. Don't miss it. It'll sound really bad if you play an A flat there. So circle that. And then we keep going. When we get to 41, majestic, play with pride. Make sure you're tuning at your C at 46 and 49. It's a very flexible note. Make sure you're tuning that. And getting that dead center. Figure out if you need to go move your air up or down for that note. And then at the end, talk to the people around you and learn to stagger breathe. So not everyone is playing at the same exact time or breathing at the same exact time. So then you can hold that whole phrase. But remember to go from mezzo forte all the way down to piano. So that's it. We are out of time. If this video was helpful for you, please continue to suggest these to other classmates, and remember that you get 3 videos per month, and let me know if there's anything else I can help you in this piece. Thank you.